यामुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यामुनातीरावनचारी यामुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, Parashurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. Text 26. Havihidhanim Rishehe Darpat Naran Hartum अचोदयत ते च महिष्मतीं निन्युः सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात् हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरान् हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात् हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरान् हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात् हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरान् हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात् हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरान् हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात् हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरान् हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात्. माताजी. हविर्धानीं ऋषेर्दर्पान् नरां हर्तुम् अचोदयत् ते च माहिष्मतीं निन्यो सवत्सां क्रन्दतीं बलात्. Word by word meaning. Havidhanim, the Kamadhenu, Rishehe, of the great sage Jamadagni, Darpat, because of his being puffed up with material power. Naran, all his men, soldiers. Hartum, to steal or take away. Achodayat, encouraged. Te, the men of Kartaviryarjuna. Cha, also. Mahishmatim, to the capital of Kartaviryarjuna. Ninyuhu, brought. Savatsam, with the calf. Krandatim, crying. Balat, because of being taken away by force. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. Being puffed up by material power, Kartaviryarjuna encouraged his men to steal Jamadagni's Kamadhenu. Thus the men forcibly took away the crying Kamadhenu along with her calf to Mahishmati, Kartaviryarjuna's capital. Purport. The word Havirdhanim is significant in this verse. Havirdhanim refers to a cow required for supplying havis or ghee for the performance of ritualistic ceremonies in sacrifices. In human life, one should be trained to perform yajnas. As we are informed in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If we do not perform yajna, we shall simply work very hard for sense gratification like dogs and hogs. This is not civilization. A human being should be trained to perform yajna. Yajnat bhavati parjanyah. Bhagavad Gita 3.14. If yajnas are regularly performed, there will be proper rain from the sky. And when there is regular rainfall, the land will be fertile and suitable for producing all the necessities of life. Yajna, therefore, is essential. For performing yajna, clarified butter is essential. And for clarified butter, cow protection is essential. Therefore, if we neglect the Vedic way of civilization, we shall certainly suffer. So, so-called scholars and philosophers do not know the secret of success in life, and therefore they suffer in the hands of Prakriti, nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah. Bhagavad Gita 3:27. Nonetheless, although they are forced to suffer, they think they are advancing in civilization. Ahankara vimudhatma karthaham iti manyate. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore meant to revive a mode of civilization in which everyone will be happy. This is the motive of our Krishna consciousness movement. Yajne sukhe na bhavantu. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vikas Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Being puffed up by material power, Kartaviryarjuna encouraged his men to steal Jamadagni's Kamadhenu. Thus the men forcibly took away the crying Kamadhenu along with her calf to Mahishmati, Kartaviryarjuna's capital. Hare Krishna. So, we are seeing in this chapter of this particular canto, we are almost 25 verses we have seen, and we are reading about the pastimes of Lord when he came in the form of Parashurama or Rama, and how later on we will, just now we are reading in the beginning only what led to the eradication of Kshatriyas by Shri Parashuram 21 times, what led to this incidents. So now we see that Kartaviryarjuna, it is described about him, very powerful king, got benedictions from Dattatreya and became so much powerful. Now, what actually should happen and was actually happening was that we say that with great power comes great responsibilities. So we see that Kartaviryarjuna, he was so powerful that he gave full protection to all his citizens. They need not had to fight or to protect the Mahishmati capital, because he was so powerful that single-handedly he can defeat anyone. And the example, just few verses back, we saw that how he defeated Ravana. Ravana, we know that such a powerful king. Lord himself fought with him. So such a powerful king, demon Ravana, and Kartaviryarjuna just captured him. It is mentioned just like a monkey. Like a monkey it is captured. So Kartaviryarjuna just captured him like a monkey and kept him. So like this we see that he was a very, very powerful king. So he was doing his duties also perfectly for his citizens. But another thing which should not happen but which happens, we see that great power comes great pride also. That the people, they become blind because of their strength and because of their fame and everything. which should bring more humility in a person, so that itself becomes cause of great pride. So we see that Kartavirya also became very proud of his achievements, proud of his power. And then what happens? Pride comes before fall. So that only became the cause of his fall down, or cause of his destruction also. Because before this incidents, everything was fine. He was taking care of the citizens, and himself he was performing the duties as a king. But then we see, as soon as the pride came inside him, that why this cow, why this wonderful cow, Kamdhenu, why it is with this rishi? All the best things in this world should be with the king. So it should be in my possession. The same thing that we saw with Vishwamitra and Vasishtha. That how Vishwamitra, he got so much obsessed with Kamadhenu that led to such a great story. So similarly here also, Kartavirya he got obsessed that why this cow, it is with Jamadagni. Because he came there with, it is mentioned that king does not travel alone. He came there with all his soldiers and so many people and paraphernalia. And within minutes, so many tasty delicacies made in pure ghee. Jamadagni made it ready with the help of Kamadhenu, for not only for Jamadagni but for all his soldiers and associates. So this brought envy inside the heart of Jamadagni, and then he decided to take away this cow forcefully. And this is what we are seeing, that they took away the cow forcefully, and the cow and the calf also been crying. And so in this way, this incident, later on we see that we will see that how it led to the destruction of Kartavirya and all his associates. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about the importance of performing yajna. Now elsewhere in Srila Prabhupada's purport and so many of his lectures, we have heard that Srila Prabhupada has described, we have seen it many times, that Kalautad Hari Kirtanat, that in this age of Kali, the best way of getting back to Godhead is by performing a yajna which is known as Sankirtan Yajna. Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu Tretayam yajato makhai dwapare paricharyayam kalautad hari kirtanat. And like this, there are many verses where Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on the importance of Harinam. So, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yajna Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti hi Sumhedasaha. Now, describing about the intelligent people of Kali Yuga, it is said that those who are intelligent people, so they will perform Sankirtan Yajna for pleasing Lord Hari. So, like this, we see that so much emphasis is given on Sankirtan Yajna or Harinam, which is the best of the Yajnas. Yajnayam Japa Yajñosmi, as it is said by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy name. So, sacrifice always does not include rituals. So, as soon as we hear the word sacrifice or yajna, the things or the pictures which just come in our mind is some brahmanas sitting and chanting some Vedic hymns, and there will be some fire, and they will be giving some oblations in the fire. And so this is what generally is associated with the word yajna. So now, as I said, yajna is not always associated, means it's not that always there should be some rituals present in it. Yajna means it should be for pleasing Lord Vishnu. It should be pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So this Nam Yajna or Harinam Sankirtan that we perform, so why it is considered the best yajna? Because it is also for the pleasure of Vishnu. By chanting the holy names, we are trying to please Krishna. And that is recommended for this age, because so many places Prabhupada has described about the people of Kali Yuga who are not so much qualified to perform these Vedic yajnas because of so much inabilities. So Prabhupada says other yajnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali. Because so many, we are not so much qualified, so many anarthas and so many, and we don't get proper paraphernalia, proper ingredients to perform a yajna in this age of Kali. So many things are there which stops us from doing this yajna. But then the most prescribed way of doing yajna as recommended by Srila Prabhupada is also the Harinam Yajna. And he gives it more importance than the ritualistic yajna ceremonies. For example, if we see in Lilamrita, when Srila Prabhupada was getting initiated, so sannyasa initiated, so the Vedic sacrifices were going on, and another devotee, he was singing, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the mic. So it was little louder. So the Brahmanas, those who were performing that yajna, they asked him to reduce the voice volume. But Srila Prabhupada, he encouraged to continue. Because he knew the importance of this Harinam in Kali Yuga. So in this way we see that when we see the different lessons, different instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given us, we see that he has given so much importance to Harinam Sankirtan or the Sankirtan Yajna for this age of Kali. So now we see that when we are seeing all these purports one by one till this 25th verse, then we see that in most of the purports, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing more on Varnashrama Dharma, importance of Varnashrama Dharma, and how this modern civilization, how it is so demoniac, it is leading everyone to hell. So in this way, in before also few purports, we see that Srila Prabhupada has given us the importance of following Varnashrama Dharma. Now, it is mentioned in the purport that for performing yajna, clarified butter is essential, and for clarified butter, cow protection is essential. So, therefore, if we neglect the Vedic way of civilization, we shall certainly suffer. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving an example of why cow protection is necessary, because as it is mentioned, Kamdhenu as the name, Havid Dhanim, which refers to the cow required for supplying havis or ghee for the performance of ritualistic ceremonies. And here Srila Prabhupada is also saying that for the performing yajna, butter is required, and for how we will get the butter when we get the milk from the cow, so cow protection is required. Now, just before that, we discussed that in the Kali Yuga, Harinam Sankirtan is enough. So all these yajnas, they are not required because we are not so qualified. So Harinam Sankirtan is enough. So what does it mean that so we don't need cow protection? Because according to this sentence that Srila Prabhupada said, that why cows are required to produce milk that will produce clarified butter which will be required for performing yajnas. But then we see Srila Prabhupada gave more emphasis on Sankirtana yajna. So does that mean that then because we don't need ghee, because we don't need clarified butter, so that's why it is okay if the cows are not protected, because only we can go back to Godhead just by chanting the name of Hari. Just by Harinam we can go back to Godhead. No need for cow protection. So it is not like that. So although it is very important, the cows, why they are important? Because as Srila Prabhupada said that their milk is required to produce butter which is used for performing sacrifices. But that is not the only reason why cow protection is required. Because as I said, only the Harinam is important, Harinam is okay, then why we need cow protection? So cow protection is required because cows are very dear to Krishna. So cows are very dear to Krishna. That's why whatever we do it for Krishna's pleasure. Krishnarthe akile cheshtha. So, and whatever Krishna likes, we try to provide him. That is devotional service. So now Krishna has so much love and affection for cows. So that's why it is the duty of each and every individual to look after this cow protection, because in this way we will be able to please Krishna. That is why cow protection is so much required. Now, as I said before, that in most of his purports, just a few shlokas back, Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing more on re-establishment of Varnashrama Dharma. So here also we see that in the purport, a couple of times Srila Prabhupada has, we see that emphasized why the re-establishment of Vedic culture, re-establishment of Varnashrama is so important for the present situation of the material world. So Srila Prabhupada says that the Krishna consciousness movement is therefore meant to revive a mode of civilization in which everyone will be happy. This is the motive of our Krishna consciousness movement. So here Prabhupada in these lines, he is emphasizing that why this re-establishment of Varnashrama Dharma is so much important. So when we are trying to re-establish the Varnashrama Dharma, because that is Krishna's plan, that is not a man-made plan. The Varna and Ashrama system that comes from Krishna, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, Gunakarma Vibhagashah. So Krishna has given this plan to us for society to go smoothly, work smoothly. So in this Varnashrama system, we see that how the Grihasthas, they are supposed to perform yajnas daily for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So when we are trying to re-establish this Varnashrama Dharma as prescribed by Krishna and as prescribed by Srila Prabhupada, so we see that there are various duties related to all various varnas and ashramas. Like in the previous verse, we saw that how Krishi, Goraksha and Vanijya, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam is why it is so important in Varnashrama system, because it is the duty of a Vaishya to take care of all these things. So similarly, when Srila Prabhupada is talking about performance of yajnas and re-establishment of Varnashrama system, so we see that it should be the goal of devotees that for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, for the pleasure of Krishna, so whatever roles and prescribed duties that are set for the different varnas and ashramas, they should also be put on in the place. Then only slowly we'll see, slowly and gradually. It is not that within a day or so, within a month or so, within a year or so, we'll be able to inculcate or put everything in place. So it will take some time, and gradually we'll be able to put the people in their place and give them their roles, and they will act according to their roles. So for that reason, it is very important the performance of yajnas. So we see in the Vedic culture, it was a daily job for the grihasthas to perform yajna ceremony and give charity, accept charities for brahmanas. And like that, it was the duties of kshatriyas to perform the administrative works, also take care of the citizens with their strength. And then the performance of Vaishyas was based on Vanijya, the Vyapara or the business, and the taking care of the cows and farming and all these things. And the Shudras, they were like helping all the other three. So this is the way in which the society was supposed to be, a healthy society which is supposed to work. So that's why, although Harinam Sankirtan, we know that it is best, nothing is equal to Harinam Sankirtan, Sankirtan Yajna in this age of Kali. But when we see that Srila Prabhupada again and again, he emphasized so much on the re-establishment of Varnashrama Dharma, then one of the important links, one of the important keys of Varnashrama Dharma is that all the Varnas and Ashramas, they should perform their prescribed duties accordingly. So that is why this performance of this Yajna, so it is very important to train the children right from the childhood, those who have that guna of priestlyhood, of priestly work. So they should be trained. It is written here that in human life one should be trained to perform yajnas. So we see that such type of children who have this vritti or inclination towards Brahminical qualities and performing yajnas and all that. So in Varnashrama Dharma, so from the beginning they should be given training on these yajnas, but also on the other hand they should also be trained about the purpose of this yajna and about the importance of Sankirtana yajna, that how that is the best, or else the purpose will not be solved, or else what will happen that they will become smartas. They will think that yajna, ritualistic yajna to be everything, and they will minimize the importance of Sankirtana yajna. So in this way, if they are trained from the childhood in all these things, then we will see that they will be able to carry out their prescribed duties in a very wonderful way. And in this way, when they take out their prescribed duties in a wonderful way, and all the other varnas and ashramas, they are also carrying out their duties accordingly, then we will see that there will be no chaos in the society. So right now, at present, we see that what is the problem with the society? The problem with the society and the whole chaos that is going on in the society, that is just because of the lack of varnashrama dharma, that people are not following their prescribed duties. As in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that so-called scholars and philosophers do not know the secret of success in life, and therefore they suffer in the hands of Prakriti, nature. So now, same thing we are seeing in the current society, that people are not following their prescribed duties, and that's why chaos is taking place everywhere. We see nothing is going on smoothly. Everywhere there are problems, and the thing which we are seeing now. Some hint we got in the Vedic ages also, like Sri Ram, when he was ruling, then suddenly one Brahmana came up one day and with his dead son, and he said that something is going wrong in your leadership, because see, my son is dead. So at that time, just because the son died before father, so that was considered very, very inauspicious. Nowadays, it is not a matter also. Anyone can die anytime. No one will question also about this. But during that time, it was considered very inauspicious if the child, father has to carry the dead body of the child. So, and who was responsible for that? The king. And the praja or the citizens, the subjects, they knew that this happened because of what? Means the king is not performing his duties appropriately. So nowadays, whatever is happening, so either people don't care, or if they do care, then they will just blame each other and so many different people. But they don't see that how it is the duty of the king to take care of the citizens, or else it will result in all this chaos. So he went to Sri Ram and complained. So Sri Ram went out to his city and just to see what is happening, which brought this calamity. Then he went to the forest and saw one Shudra. Then he was performing yajna there. So at that time, Lord Ram did not ask him any questions, that who are you? Although you are a Shudra, you are performing yajna, which is not your prescribed duty. So what brings you in this condition? What makes you to perform this yajna? So he didn't ask any question to him. What he did, he just took out his sword and he cut the head of that Shudra. Just matter finished there itself. So judgment he gave there itself. So this is, it seems quite cruel. Just a simple lean person. So if he is just doing some yajna, so how it will harm society? But that only creates harm. Why they have to be killed? By another story of Eklavya we can understand. Eklavya was not a Kshatriya, but he wanted to become one. And for that he was asking the help of Drona. And Drona, he knew all these about Varna and Ashrama and all the intricacies and how it will affect the future. So Drona, he didn't teach him anything. And then Eklavya, we see that he made a form of Drona with clay and started practicing, and he became very perfect in it. And when Drona came, and we know the story, he asked for Guru Dakshina and he asked his thumb. So nowadays also we see that I don't know in South, but in North India, Eklavya is considered a great hero. Just like in South India, Karna He is considered a very great hero. People like Karna more than Arjuna. So similarly, Eklavya, he is inspiration for many people. But uh, but Drona knew what he did and why he did. Because we see that the same Eklavya in future he fought with against Krishna, and he was died by the hand of Krishna. So we can see that how chaos is produced in the society when the people are not following their prescribed duties. So if Dronacharya, if he would have if he would have accepted Eklavya as his disciple and would have taught him everything, all the mantras for all the astras and all the weaponry, everything, all education, if he would have given him, just imagine that without one thumb also, just by placing the form of Drona in clay form, he became so expert, and without thumb also he was fighting. So just if he get all this education, then how he will reign this earth because of his demoniac mentality. So he would have ruined the entire earth. And Drona, a pure Brahmana, he knew all this. And that's why he refused to teach him, and as a Guru Dakshina, he asked his thumb. So in this way, these are just two examples from the early ages. But now we see that everything is hodgepodge. This is what going on. So because nowadays, as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushthitat Swadharmane Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Srila Prabhupada's translation: it is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. So what we see that nowadays, what is happening is completely opposite of what Krishna has said. So Prabhupada mentions about the philosophers, scholars. So nowadays, what we see in the society, the perfection is given main importance. That somehow or other, this work, if it is supposed to happen in 20 hours, it should happen. Anyone can do it. No matter what is your ability or what is that, somehow, if you are you have to finish it. So whole society is after perfection. That is the mantra. Just do it. If something is there, just do it. But Vedic civilization, the main goal was not to just do something perfectly. Even if there is 1 or 2%, if it is not performed so perfectly, there is no problem. But the main goal was that how this work is taking me closer to Krishna, closer to bhakti. So that was the main goal of Vedic ages. So that's why it is prescribed that we should stick to our prescribed duties, even though if there is some fault in it, we are not able to do perfectly, rather than to perform another's duty very, very perfectly. So it may seem that we have done this duty very perfectly, but in future it may lead to destruction, so much destruction. So that's why we see that this leads to destruction in the society, so much chaos in the society. Because the people, we see right from childhood, we see that people, they want their children either to become doctor or engineers, as if there is no other profession in the world. So we see that number of engineers is going on increasing. Once we were doing book distribution in Kerala, and there we were traveling in auto, and there I think that some rule is there that just behind the driver, they have to write all their information, I cards, their name and qualification and everything. So we were sitting in that auto, and that person, he was speaking very nice English. So we were not surprised, because in Kerala most of them, they speak good English. So, and when we saw his name and educational qualification, so it was something BTech or so he was an engineer. Means he did engineering degree, and now he is driving an auto. And so many engineers we see, they will sit in the call center and work or anything. Anyone will do anything. Brahmanas, people have become Brahmana priests just by learning some mantras. And but they don't know what they are doing. I remember when my sister was getting married in West Bengal. So it was all some Karmi priests and everything. So he came to the house and was sitting, and we were discussing something, and suddenly he took out a packet of cigarette from his pocket, and there in means just now, if we think that a person is smoking, how we will feel. Even if someone, for example, a Krishna consciousness, some devotee, he wants to smoke. So he will feel, first of all, afraid. Arey, I want to smoke. 100 people will see me. I am devotee. So if he want, he will go and hide himself somewhere and then may do it. But this person, just no shame, nothing. Just very nice thread and everything, very nice tilak, Vaishnava tilak, and just took out a packet of cigarette and started smoking. So means this is what is happening in the society, and that is why we see that nothing is going on according to the conjunction of Shastras. Everything is topsy-turvy, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in his lectures. So that's why the re-establishment of Varnashrama Dharma is very, very important, as Srila Prabhupada said, or else whole society, it's just going to hell. So that's why the snatching of Kamadhenu by Kartavirya, that is so much condemned here, because he was not Krishna conscious. A Krishna conscious person, he will never do such an activity, because Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labhate param. So a person, when he comes to Krishna consciousness and he gets advanced in Krishna consciousness, we see that he is situated in Brahma Bhuta stage, where he has no hankerings. He doesn't hanker for anything. He is satisfied with whatever he has. And then if he loses something, then he doesn't get too much sorrowful for that. So this is what was lacking in Kartavirya Arjuna, and this is what we need now in the society. And this, how we will attain that Brahma Bhuta stage. So we will attain that Brahma Bhuta stage by following Krishna consciousness very, very perfectly. And for that to happen, it is recommended that the re-establishments of Varnashrama society is a must, or else it is very, very difficult to attain this stage of Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, where we will be equipoised and do our duties perfectly. Hare Krishna. So I'll end here. If anyone has any questions, comments, clarifications. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.